Good morning, everybody. And it's hard to believe it's been 100 days. 100 days since we've held this press conference and talked about what was going on with the COVID-19 and how it's been affecting us going forward. We just entered our 15th week, so we completed 14, and I'm just trying to figure out where them last 14 weeks went with dealing with everything and moving forward. So to all the essential employees in Albany County, thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you've done day in and day out, keeping us moving forward. Every department, everybody that comes to work, that has come to work, has a purpose, has a reason why we keep the county moving forward, hospitals moving forward. And that's why I even said with hospitals, and I know we rightfully so, we should thank the doctors and the nurses, but if it's not for the admin, it's not for the cleaners, it's not for the security, that hospital wouldn't run and they couldn't do their job what they do. So it's to everyone that really makes the hospital work, and same thing in county government, to all the workers, because everyone has a function, and that function keeps us going forward to continue to deliver our services in these difficult times. And again, to the 100 days, it's just, it's been amazing. And watching how things changed around us, and trying to reimagine, and trying to educate ourselves, and breaking up our staff and working in different locations. Parents getting used to not just being parents full time, but being teachers at the same time. It's difficult. It's been a difficult adjustment for everyone. It's still a difficult adjustment going forward, and we have a lot going on in the world because the world doesn't stop. Issues still continue to go on. We have not just the COVID stuff we're dealing with, and the economy that we're dealing with, workers coming back, and everything else. Things still continue to move forward, and that's called progress. So again, I said it early on weeks ago that we had to reimagine what we look like going forward, and it's going to continue to change as more and more people come back out and more businesses redevelop themselves going forward. It's really going to change things effectively, how us as a society go out into this new world and get adjusted to it. And I think Dr. Whalen said it plenty of times to myself and the governor. The virus is there. It hasn't gone away. Our numbers are low, which is great. Things are going in the right direction. I can't be happier, but it doesn't mean it's not there. Can I say why it hasn't spiked with the protests going on, more people coming back to work, restaurants opening? I say to the people out there, it's because of you. It's because of you, because you wore your mask, you coughed in your arm, you cleaned your hands, you socially distanced to the best of your ability, and you're more cautious. So for doing your job, thank you so much. But as today, we have 1,847 positive cases. That's up 6 from yesterday. We have 138 people under mandatory quarantine. That's down 32 from yesterday. And still, we have one person on a precautionary quarantine, which is also good. We have 5,553 people that have completed quarantine. Of those, 1,811 tested positive for the virus. Out of that, 23 have recovered, which is good going forward from yesterday. So again, everything's going in the right direction. So thank you. We have now 6 people in the hospital. That's down 2 from yesterday. For a hospitalization rate of 0.32%. I believe that's the lowest we've been since this started, so which is awesome news, going in the right direction. And yesterday we're at 0.43, so big difference. Unfortunately, we've had for the last 5 days no one in ICU, but we do have one person in ICU as of today, so that changes for ICU. And for the 5-day average, it's 4 new positive cases each day. It was 3 the last 5 days, so that slightly went up. So it's something, we'll continue to monitor and to go forward. I still say to everyone, I urge you, please go out and get tested. It's there. It's just not us here in Albany County and the Capital District. We're seeing the testing numbers across the state go down because people are like, I'm over this. I'm done. If I hear that, I just can't believe how many times I've run into someone and said, hey, McCoy, I'm done, McCoy. And I'm like, I hear you, but it's not done with you. So, it's just an issue people are having, and they don't feel, hey, I have no signs and symptoms, or I haven't been around anyone, I'm not getting tested. But our testing site at the Times Union Center was a huge success. We had 56 people with appointments came in, so we're going to be doing it there again, and that's for all workers coming back down to downtown Albany, to City Hall, to the State Controller's Office, to all the state employees in downtown, to all the private workers in downtown. Please, by all means, call this number, 518-465-4771, 518-465-4771. And as always, to the mobile testing sites we have throughout the community, please, by all means, call. Let us continue to get this data on it so we can address this issue, even though we're hopefully getting out of this coronavirus. We can still have to address these other issues in underlying communities, which I have been doing for 8 years with my equity agenda and different programs we run, but we need to do a better job, and we need to work together. So you can do your job by coming out to get tested. Also, UAlbany, as always, the number for UAlbany for Seth Q Arena in the drive-thru is 1-888-364-3065. Rite Aid in Colony, as always, Priority 1 in Gilliland. The number for Priority 1 in Gilliland is area code 518-867-8040. And again, please, by all means, go and get tested. Call them numbers, and again, it's going to be hard to continue to use them resources and personnel that are at UAlbany, at Seth Q, at Rite Aid, at Priority 1, if people aren't coming out and getting tested. So again, please don't let them resources just sit there. Utilize it, and please get tested. It's a reminder to the businesses that are going to New York Forward website and completed a safety statement. You can come to the Times Union Center today and pick up your 2 gallons of bottles of New York State hand sanitizer for free. So we have pallets and pallets of that at the Times Union Center and at the Sheriff's EOC to get out and really get out to businesses so people can continue to practice great hygiene and social distancing. So please take Market Street, and you go in the back of you go down Market Street and you go in the back of the Times Union Center. There's a security officer there that will help you. I'll put the jugs in your car, and you just got to sign for it, and it's very easy. Yesterday, Governor Cuomo really got on businesses about doing the right stuff, and that if you're violating the policies, the county's got to step up and do their job. Look, I know the struggle. A lot of these restaurants, a lot of these bars have had to come back online. The struggle of trying to get the correct guidance, to train yourselves, to train your workers, to train your patrons when you come in and having that experience. And it's tough. It's tough. And most of them are doing a great job. So please, by all means, just continue to follow the guidelines that were put out from the state of New York. We don't want to come in and shut you down. I know about, if you got 50% inside your restaurant, 50% outside, you can make it work, and you're doing a good job. I went to dinner last night just to see how it was going, and I went to the Barn Cider on, I think it was Sand Creek in Osborne. Did a great job. They did a really great job, and you had to wear your mask to get to your table. Then you had to say you could take your mask off, but then if you got up from your table, you had to put your mask back on to walk through the restaurant to go to the bathroom. So it was good. And the wait staff, they handled it great, and it was a great experience. A little different, I gotta say. It's a little different when people are walking around with masks on, but we have to get used to that, and that's one of the things we have to get used to. Our local law enforcement agencies will be investigating complaints and acting accordingly. So please don't do what's right. We want you to get back up and running. So obviously you don't have to close your doors, and we're seeing that in some places that have closed their doors can't reopen in some hotels. So it is going to affect us going forward. But to the restaurants that are out there, we want to be that support here in Albany County. We don't want to be that person that is fining you and shutting you down. But the governor's orders. Also, as we get closer to phase 4, I know it's been a lot of questions on different variety of stuff, but like Huck Finns, I got a lot of questions on Huck Finns. Yes, When we get into phase 4, they'll be able to open up. They're going to have to do it differently. Obviously, they already put a plan forward for that, how they're going to do that, and how it's going to work going forward. So things like that you're going to see open up. It's not going to be the big crowds. I guess that's good in a way too. You're not going to have to fight the crowds to get in there. They're going to be doing socially distancing, and might be doing time slots when you come in and limited people there at a time. So you kind of get that neat still experience with less crowd. So I guess that works for the consumer, not so much for him, but it'll still be a great experience for kids going forward. So our colleges, at the same time, we had a briefing the other day on all the colleges, on the local colleges, how they're going to go forward, and statewide. New York State's still putting guidance out. We haven't received that guidance. My budget director's daughter's going to Buffalo State. Where is he? Is he hiding back there? He's over there hiding. So they got a little bit guidance from the school already, and they were told that they will be coming back, but they'll end around Thanksgiving and do their finals online. So some schools are already planning it. Some are talking about one kid going into a dorm and figuring out going forward. So they're doing it. I mentioned yesterday texting with Chris Gibson. Basically, he said, hey, I want to get the students tested when they come back. They want to be proactive, and they want the kids to come back and have that experience. And we want, unfortunately, a lot of them missed their graduation, so a lot of the incoming freshmen, we want you to have that freshman experience. We don't want you to have that freshman 15 pounds because you're probably already got it these last couple of months with everyone else, but we want you to do it in a safe way. So today being Juneteenth, 24 hours ago, I signed the executive order, basically making it an official holiday here in the county, following the governor's footsteps. I announced it the day before that at the thing with Pastor Tram, with law enforcement at the Time Union Center, and I felt it was the right thing to do going forward. We need to heal as a community, but we also got to remember why we are where we are, and we have to remember our past. You can't forget your past, and you got to take the good and bad from that and make sure that we don't repeat history. And the only way we do that is by educating people on the good points and bad points of the foundation of this country. And this is something that should have been done, nationally, on a national level. I brought it up at the county executives. I'm president of county executives. I brought it up to all the other county executives that they don't have this, they should follow suit. And we need to heal as a nation. And the only way we're going to heal as a nation is to recognize this important day, but educate people about this important day, because I will assure all the viewers out there and listeners to this, and to the readers that will be reading the Times Union and the other papers and the Troy Record and the Altamont and every other paper, most of your kids can't even tell you what most holidays are. All they know is they get a free day off. And we've lost that. We lost it in translation. Some can't even explain to you why we get 4th of July, what Memorial Day means, what Labor Day means, and we need to do a better job in our schools, in the workplace, of educating why people got the day off and the reason that day is so important that it was considered a holiday. And it's unfortunate, because I've asked kids on different holidays what they meant, and they're like, I don't know, I get a 3-day weekend. It's not a 3-day weekend. Oh, we do barbecues. It's just not about barbecuing. So these are things that we need to talk to and educate. And I thought, who better than to have here today than Trayvon Jackson, who comes in and shares what's happening and what he's been doing for the African American Culture Center of the Capital Region on South Pearl Street. I was there, fortunately, I want to say 7 years ago?
Yeah, I'd say so, 7, 8 years now.
7, 8 years. It was early on. I didn't have gray hair, and I was a little bit thinner.
I didn't have the beard either.
I know Daryl's not going to believe that, but I was a little thinner, and he didn't have the beard. I was thinner, though. He's shaking his head now. So, but I remember, and everything that was going on there, and the excitement to highlight all previous activities going on for African Americans, and the history that they have made in the Capital Region. I remember we were there, and what a lesson I got. They were talking about the first African American ever elected in Albany County,
yes,
and everyone was guessing. And then I want to say it was Jack McEnany actually brought it up, and said 1890. Campbell Matthews, right? I think it was first African American judge elected in the city of Albany in 1890, and he was president of a bank. And I go, you don't even hear about it. That's. I mean, you think about 1890, and that happened. So it was nice to go there, and not just to do a ribbon cutting, but to get educated, and that's what it's about. So please talk about what's been going on, where you're going, and the excitement that you have on not just here in Albany County about this, but on the Capital District and statewide level.
Absolutely. Well, Executive, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak about the work that we're doing, especially considering the times that we're in and the many events that have taken place. I know the county and the nation at large is generally in a state of unrest, and I'm happy to report that the mission of the center is to create a safe space for people of color and the oppressed to exist outside of that unrest and learn more and more deeply about our history and our plight and our struggle and our strength and bring that to the fore. And that's really the story of the work that we've been doing over the last 8 years. Coincidentally, 1890 was about the year that our building was constructed on Madison and South Pearl, Madison formerly being Lydia Street. And the historic building now creeping up in the 140 years is a modicum of Albany history, a cross-section across 4 different floors of commerce, sharing, history, and in that, we found space to launch our own history as we forge forward in what is really a revolutionary idea, that there is a space for people of color to assemble in shared history and love of one another and bring that to walls outside of their own in a safe place. We like to encourage everyone to visit and learn more about Juneteenth. This is the 17th annual Juneteenth held in the city of Albany. We've been thankful for a long time to be partners with various organizations in hosting that event. And 4 years ago, we made the conscious decision to move Juneteenth down to the South Pearl neighborhood. And we wanted to do that because if we've seen with the riots that took place on Saturday and some of the other events, there are often outside factors, outside agitators, outside struggles, emotional hang-ups that prevent us from operating safely and moving in a condition of love. And in that neighborhood especially, that condition exists and has persisted for a long, long, long time. As we speak of education and what Juneteenth is about, it's about the history of slavery for over 400 years in this country. It is the history of family separation. It is the history of disenfranchisement on a legal basis when a physical basis would no longer stand. It is the continued disenfranchisement of these peoples with systems and powers and entities that aim to move forward in their own emotion rather than the universal emotion of love. I consider myself a Christ-loving humanist, and I believe all things are possible in people through whatever God they choose to be empowered by. And the God that I believe in has showed me that love between our people and among our people should be the greater and greatest goal. And when you cannot have that, we educate ourselves further and we learn of legends beyond the basics that we're taught in our history and our textbooks that should be updated in our curriculums that have been changed and will be changed again. You think of the Malcolm X's and the James Baldwins and the Bayard Rustins, who organized for figures like Martin Luther King, who many know. But I share with you that I share an alma mater with Dr. King. I attended Morehouse College, and I was blessed enough to walk the same campus and share the same living residence and read his personal notes. And I can tell you that the core of Dr. King's message was about making sure oppressed and people of color lived equally, whether that be in love, peace, or shared existence among any people. And in that, you find the message moving forward because the true challenge is to see how that's possible in a time when we have a virus restricting our moves and our desires, our arts and our culture. You know, as some have alluded to and mentioned, various forms of violence, whether it be domestic, gun, verbal, have increased since the virus restrictions. There's a struggle for mental health to be taken seriously and implemented in the ways that is necessary. I commend organizations like Rooted Healing, also on South Pearl Street, who provide these critical services, not just in general, but also with a specific focus for people of color and those who are most in need, who can't afford these services. And in that is where we find the nexus of Juneteenth this year. Because in the shadow of all that, in my capacity as director of an African American Cultural Center, I can find no way to tell my people not to celebrate their freedom. So how do I do that safely? How do I work with partners to make sure that that's something that will be emboldened, not because of fear of a virus, but because of shared understanding of a fight for freedom? So in that, we're happy to share that we have our garden outside, which has been re-landscaped in full and rededicated to the ongoing struggle for peaceful protest and accountability for those who have died, lost lives, and been maimed at the hands of police brutality in this country. It is our hope that people visiting can take one of our free to-go meals, spend time in our garden. The county legislature and Black Caucus has been gracious enough to provide us with all the PPE that we need. So we encourage you to be safe. We encourage you to visit us. We encourage you, if you feel uncomfortable, to watch our program digitally and virtually, which we've created so that people have that option. We've also reduced the number of vendors on Pearl Street to encourage you to shop at the local businesses there. as well as give more space for assembly. To make up for the difference, we've increased the amount of art that we'll be placing on the street in a hope to address a longer standing issue with the community, which is resources and their lack thereof. That street has not been beautified. We thank the downtown bid for their continuous use of planters, hangers, and landscaping to create a sense of love among a community that's been shortchanged so heavily. We thank the continued work with the county and all our other partners to find a way to place permanent seating on that block so that the elders living at the senior center don't have to lean on our fence or sit on our low stoop to get their only break on their way to the grocery store or any other place. It's through these items and through this Juneteenth that we hope you see there is a deeper effort at the Cultural Center to present our freedom and our love and our existence to all people who are interested and to all people who support. And I thank all of our supporters very deeply who responded after our building was broken into under a hate crime approximately 2 weeks ago. It's unfortunate that those events come to highlight and mar the preparation for an event such as this. But existing as I have in this country as a black man, I'm always prepared. And that's why in that I'm still able to find a light of love, which is the support all of you have given, all of you will give, and you may be considering giving right now. So with that, I yield my time and I thank you for the audience.
Trayvon, I mean, inspirational words, and thank you for that. It's, again, they do a lot, and he talks about business in downtown by the African American Cultural Center, and just I think like 3 buildings down, you got like 3 levels of stores inside one.
Yeah,
and
the Coliseum.
Yes, people don't realize that. I've gone through there a couple times, and you walk in there, and there's great shops in there, and I recommend people take the time that after you visit the African American Cultural Center to go to that store and the other stores that are right next to you, because there's neat little things going on in that community. And thank you for the inspirational words. And we're going to make sure we get it out on our website, and we get it out because he has so much stuff going on. And you're inspiring not just African Americans, but people throughout Albany County, and I can't thank you enough for that and for your hard work over all these years. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. And another thing that was, a great step in the right direction yesterday was the DACA decision. That's been for the Dreamers. It's been ongoing for years. And a lot of uncertainty for these children that were brought here illegally, that were brought into this country, and have a right for a future. That's what we're based on. We're a country to give you hope and opportunities when you come here and you leave your country, for whatever the reason is, better life, not a good government, whatever it may be, to come here and live the American dream. So that decision that was made, I have to tell you, I was excited. I know Evelyn was, where our immigration office was excited, and Bakri, because again, it's a step in the right direction. And then it's been a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people that are held in that situation. And I want to say it was like well over 1 million people that this affected. And now they can move on with their lives and not have to look over their shoulders and be scared that someone's going to deport them or throw them out of the country. So again, a huge major decision. As always, I want to thank everybody, and we've learned a lot these last 100 days. We learned as a society how to change, how to tolerate, and how to continue to reimagine going forward. And I look forward to bringing the rest of the workforce back online, kind of getting to like a normal operation with everything, and continue to do what you're doing out there with this virus. It is there. Continue to do your job. So I want to remind everyone the mental health support hotline is 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The number, as always, is 518-269-6634. Our sexual assault hotline number, and our 211 in New York State hotline. Please, by all means, continue to use the resources out there as we move forward in these next coming weeks, and hopefully get to phase 4 by July 1st, and then starts out really open malls and everything else, like with Huck Finn's. Again, when it comes to fall sports and that, from the control room, it's telling me, I know people want to hear it. I don't know if they'll have them seasons going forward, but we'll be given more guidance over time of when we get that.